Hey guys, Miss Pomeleo here. This is your crash course in sight reading, also known as sight singing. And sight reading is the ability to read and perform music at sight without preparation. So it's essentially getting a piece of music that you've never seen before, and by using certain tools and techniques, you are able to sing it. It's very important to note that this is a skill that you will be practicing for a very long time. I'm still practicing this. Professional singers are still practicing this. So I am not expecting perfection, but I would like to see some improvement and growth from now to the end of the year. So this is your crash course in sight reading. Let's get started. The first thing that I do when I am sight reading is I take a look at my rhythm, which is the timing of music. The importance of starting with the rhythm is due to the fact that a correct pitch sung at the wrong time is still incorrect. A lot of people make the mistake when sight reading of trying to get through the entire rhythm in their head before beginning. However, when you're in a timed situation such as an audition, that's not always the best use of your time. So instead, I suggest identifying potential problem spots within the piece. So as you can see here, I circled what I thought might be the biggest problem spots in this sight reading example. The rest of the rhythm is pretty straightforward. It's mostly quarter notes, eighth notes, half notes, some rests in there. But then we have these two measures which look a little different. So if I was sight reading this piece, I would focus most of my time trying to figure out these measures so that when I begin, I am not tripped up by them. The next thing that I would do is I would find do. Finding do relies on the key signature. The name of the key is always do. So if you are great at reading key signatures, it should be pretty easy for you to find do. However, if that's new to you, we'll talk about that at a later time, and I will give you do for now. In this segment, I circled all of the do's, which is exactly what I would do if I were sight reading, only I would be doing it in my head, because do is your home base. So if you could find where they occur, you'll know where you come home throughout the piece. Once you find do, you could fill in any of the remaining solfege by simply walking up the scale, space line, space line, space line. Next thing I do is I identify skips and leaps. This shows the difference between a skip, a leap, and a step. A skip has one solfege that is missing in between the two notes. So as you can see here, we are traveling from space to space, and we have this line in between, which is a solfege that we are leaving out. A leap, we can go from a space to a line, or maybe this space to another space up here. Either way, a leap is much bigger than both a skip and a step. And a skip simply progresses from space to line, space to line. Here I have shown you where the skips and leaps are. So once again, if this was a timed situation, I would focus my attention on these areas rather than wasting my time going through the stepwise motion, which is usually much easier to figure out. Here are a few helpful hints to close our crash course. First, just keep singing. I think it's a part of human nature that when we make a mistake, we want to immediately stop and try to fix it. But in sight singing, you'll usually do a better job if you just keep going. Number 2, take it slow. Most of the time when sight reading, you are in charge of the tempo or how fast or slow you choose to sing. So when you're first sight reading, don't be afraid to choose a much slower tempo at the start. And number 3, have a growth mindset. As I mentioned before, you will be practicing this for a very long time. So cut yourself some slack and give yourself a chance to practice and grow. Thanks, guys. This was your crash course in sight reading. I look forward to seeing you all soon.